The Ark of the Covenant is one of the most mystical and revered objects in religious history. According to the Bible, the Ark was a sacred container built at the command of God to hold the tablets of the law, which contained the Ten Commandments. The Ark was to serve as the visible symbol of God's presence with the Israelites during their journey from Egypt to the Promised Land. But the Ark was more than just a religious relic. It was a divine object, a vessel that carried the very essence of God's covenant with His people. The command to build the Ark. The creation of the Ark is detailed in the book of Exodus. After the Israelites had escaped slavery in Egypt and were journeying through the desert, God instructed Moses to build a sacred ark where he would be present. The construction of the ark was not left to human creativity, but was guided by specific divine instructions. Moses received the blueprint from God on Mount Sinai, and the ark was to be built in a highly specific manner. The ark was to be made of acacia wood, a durable and lightweight material, and covered with pure gold both inside and out. The ark measured approximately 45 inches in length, 27 inches in width, and 27 inches in height, and it was to have a golden cover called the mercy seat, which was to be placed on top of it. The mercy seat was adorned with two cherubim, angelic figures, made of gold, with their wings outstretched, symbolizing the presence of God. The dimensions of the ark and the specific materials used in its construction carry symbolic meaning. The gold represents purity and divinity, while the acacia wood symbolizes the earth, the material world. Together, these materials show the merging of the physical and the spiritual, which is central to the ark's purpose. The significance of the ark in Israelite culture. The ark was not just a box. It was the embodiment of God's covenant with the people of Israel. The Ten Commandments inside the ark were the laws that governed the Israelites' relationship with God and one another. As such, the ark was a powerful symbol of divine authority, the sacred contract between God and His chosen people. Throughout the Israelites' journey through the desert, the ark was carried by the priests and was placed in the tabernacle, a portable sanctuary that traveled with them. The presence of the ark was seen as the presence of God Himself. The Israelites believed that the ark was the physical manifestation of God's guidance and protection. Wherever the ark went, the people followed, for it was the sacred symbol of God's covenant with them. The ark was central to several religious rituals and ceremonies. The high priest would enter the Holy of Holies, the innermost chamber of the tabernacle, once a year on the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur, to make offerings and seek atonement for the people of Israel. It was at this moment that God's presence was most intensely felt by the Israelites, as the ark served as the earthly throne of the divine. The ark and the journey through the desert. As the Israelites made their way through the desert, the ark served as the guide to their promised future. The ark was carried at the head of the Israelite army, leading the people through the Red Sea and across the Jordan River. The power of the ark was demonstrated during these moments, as it was believed that the ark held the divine presence that could part seas, demolish walls, and lead the people to victory. The most significant of these miracles occurred during the Israelites' crossing of the Jordan River. As the ark was carried into the river, the waters parted, allowing the Israelites to cross on dry ground. This event marked the moment when the Israelites were officially in the Promised Land, fulfilling the covenant between God and His people. Additionally, the conquest of Jericho is another famous episode involving the ark. The Israelites marched around the walls of Jericho for 7 days, carrying the ark and blowing trumpets. On the seventh day, the walls of Jericho miraculously fell, signaling the divine power of the ark in aiding the Israelites' conquest of the land. The ark as a symbol of divine power. The ark was more than just a symbol. It was also a divine instrument capable of manifesting God's power on earth. The Israelites believed that the ark had the ability to bring down divine judgment upon their enemies and guide them in battle. It was seen as a physical embodiment of God's active presence among his people. In addition to its military role, the ark was a means of spiritual communication between the people of Israel and God. The ark was the means through which God would communicate his will to Moses and the high priests. The voice of God, the most powerful and direct form of communication with the divine, was said to emanate from the space between the two cherubim on the mercy seat. The Ark of the Covenant holds significant meaning not only in the Jewish tradition but also in Christianity and Islam. In each of these Abrahamic faiths, the Ark symbolizes a deep spiritual connection between God and humanity. Though the Ark's physical journey has ended, its role in religious traditions remains a central point of divine symbolism, covenant, and the mystical connection between the sacred and the human. The Ark in Judaism. In Judaism, the Ark of the Covenant was not merely a physical object, but a symbol of God's presence and relationship with his people. The Ark represented the holiness of the covenant between God and the Israelites, containing the Ten Commandments, which formed the core of the Mosaic Law. For the Jewish people, the Ark was the earthly vessel of God's promise, a sign of his protection and his guidance throughout their journey. The Hebrew Bible provides detailed accounts of the Ark's role in the tabernacle and its journey through the desert. The book of Exodus describes the Ark as the central feature of the tabernacle, a sacred tent where God's presence would be felt most intensely. The Ark's journey symbolized the journey of the people themselves, a pilgrimage towards divine fulfillment in the Promised Land. The Ark's role was not limited to being a religious artifact, but was also a spiritual instrument through which God communicated with his people. In the Holy of Holies, the innermost chamber of the tabernacle, the high priest would communicate with God by entering the space where the ark was housed. The ark, with its mercy seat, was the throne of God, from which divine guidance and judgment would be revealed. Its disappearance during the Babylonian conquest of Jerusalem left a profound spiritual void in Judaism, as it was believed that the ark's presence was directly linked to Israel's prosperity. The Ark in Christianity. For Christianity, the Ark of the Covenant plays a symbolic role in the Old Testament, but its meaning evolves with the coming of Jesus Christ. Christians interpret the Ark as a prefiguration of Christ, seeing the mercy seat as a symbol of the atoning sacrifice of Jesus. The Ark's contents, especially the tablets of the law, are seen as pointing towards the new covenant established through Jesus' life, death, and resurrection. The idea that Christ is the fulfillment of the law and the ultimate sacrifice mirrors the function of the ark as a vessel that once carried the divine presence. In the New Testament, Jesus is seen as the true ark, the one who carries the word of God and offers eternal salvation. The book of Hebrews in the Christian Bible further compares Jesus to the ark by stating that he entered the heavenly tabernacle, fulfilling what the earthly ark symbolized. For Christians, the ark represents more than an ancient artifact. It's a spiritual symbol of God's ongoing relationship with humanity, as well as a reminder of the covenantal relationship made through Jesus. The journey of the ark in the desert was a foreshadowing of Christ's ministry on earth, in which he would lead his followers to the eternal promise. The ark in Islam. In Islam, the Ark of the Covenant is not as prominently featured as it is in Judaism and Christianity, but it still holds symbolic significance. The Quran does mention the Ark, but with fewer details than the Bible. The Quran describes the Ark as the Tabut and links it to Prophet David and the Israelites. According to the Islamic tradition, the Ark was sent as a sign of comfort and divine assurance during a time of hardship for the Israelites, particularly during the reign of King Saul, Talut, who was struggling against his enemies. In Islamic tradition, the Ark is associated with the prophetic heritage of the Israelites, but it is seen less as a central religious object than in the Jewish or Christian faiths. The Ark, however, still represents the covenant of God with His people, the promise of guidance, and the belief in divine intervention during times of struggle. It is also linked to the theme of obedience to God's will, as the Ark was revered by the Israelites for its role in their spiritual journey. Though the Ark is not an object of active worship in Islam, it still holds a place in the spiritual history of the Abrahamic faiths. It is a reminder that the divine is present and active in the world, intervening on behalf of those who are faithful to His guidance. The Ark of the Covenant is often thought of as just a religious artifact, a box that contained the Ten Commandments, a symbol of God's covenant with His people. However, the biblical account and various historical records point to something much more profound. The Ark is said to have been the seat of divine power, possessing extraordinary and supernatural abilities that went far beyond its role as a simple sacred object. For the ancient Israelites, the Ark was not just a relic, it was the embodiment of God's presence on earth, capable of bringing divine intervention and performing miracles. The Ark's miraculous powers. One of the most striking aspects of the Ark was the belief that it was the physical manifestation of God's divine power. In the book of Exodus, when the Israelites were in the desert, the Ark was carried with them as a symbol of God's guidance and protection. But it was more than just a symbol. It was believed to be capable of performing miracles that helped the Israelites overcome tremendous obstacles. The first and most significant of these miracles occurred when the Israelites crossed the Red Sea. The Bible describes how the Ark was carried at the forefront of the Israelites' march, and as they approached the Red Sea, God commanded Moses to raise his staff over the water. With the Ark leading the way, the waters miraculously parted, allowing the Israelites to cross safely. This event was not just a symbolic act, but a demonstration of the Ark's power to carry out divine intervention. The Ark acted as the vessel through which God's will was carried out, ensuring the safety and survival of His people. The Ark also played a critical role in the conquest of Jericho, one of the most well-known miracles associated with its power. According to the book of Joshua, the Israelites marched around the walls of Jericho for 6 days, carrying the Ark and blowing trumpets. On the 7th day, after a final blast of the trumpets, the walls of the city collapsed. This miraculous event was not attributed to the Israelites' military prowess, but to the divine power contained within the Ark, which enabled them to achieve victory in the face of impossible odds. The Ark and its role in battle. The Ark was not only a spiritual guide, but also a military instrument. As the Israelites entered battles, the Ark was carried at the front of the army, and it was believed to be the source of their success. The Ark was a symbol of divine favor, and when the Ark went before the people, they believed they were invincible. The book of Samuel recounts several instances when the Israelites used the Ark in battle. In one of the most famous stories, the Ark was captured by the Philistines during a battle. However, the Philistines soon experienced devastating plagues, including tumors and rats, believed to have been brought on by the presence of the Ark. The Philistines, terrified by the Ark's power, were forced to return it to the Israelites. The Ark's power was not limited to its ability to affect natural events like the parting of the Red Sea or the destruction of Jericho's walls. It was also believed to carry with it the divine judgment. Anyone who dared to touch the Ark without proper purification was struck down by God. This is illustrated in the story of Uzzah, a man who, in an attempt to steady the Ark as it was being transported, touched it and was immediately struck dead by divine punishment. The Ark, therefore, was not just a container of God's laws, but a living and dangerous force, symbolizing the absolute holiness and power of God. The concept of the Ark as a power source. Beyond its biblical narratives, there are modern theories that suggest the ark could have been more than just a spiritual vessel. It might have been a powerful energy device capable of harnessing and focusing electromagnetic or gravitational forces. Some researchers speculate that the ark's construction, including its gold plating and the presence of certain materials such as acacia wood, might have given it unique physical properties. In this line of thought, the ark could have been a kind of energy generator, with the potential to amplify and focus natural forces, creating effects that appeared miraculous to those who witnessed them. This theory posits that the ark could have acted as a powerful tool for the Israelites, used to manipulate energy and even influence weather patterns or electromagnetic fields. This would explain some of the more dramatic occurrences attributed to the ark, such as the parting of the Red Sea or the collapsing of Jericho's walls. The ark might have been more than a religious artifact. It could have been a technological device that used advanced, forgotten knowledge to manipulate the forces of nature. The Ark of the Covenant has long been a subject of intrigue and reverence in religious traditions. But what if it also held a connection to advanced ancient technology? Beyond its spiritual and historical significance, there are theories that suggest the Ark might have been much more than a religious artifact, that it could have been a technological marvel of a lost civilization. Perhaps even an energy device capable of harnessing and manipulating natural forces. The idea that the Ark was a piece of advanced technology may seem outlandish at first glance, but when we examine the mysterious qualities and the divine power attributed to the Ark, a fascinating question emerges. Could the Ark have been an advanced technological artifact hidden in plain sight for millennia? The Ark's construction and its mysterious materials. The Ark of the Covenant was built using acacia wood and pure gold, materials chosen not only for their spiritual significance, but also for their potential physical properties. Gold, for example, is known to conduct electricity, and acacia wood is a particularly resilient and lightweight material, often used in the construction of important religious and ceremonial objects in the ancient world. The fact that the Ark was constructed with these specific materials suggests that there may have been more at play in its creation than just religious symbolism. In addition to the materials, the dimensions and design of the Ark are intriguing. The precise measurements of the Ark, as described in the book of Exodus, could have been carefully chosen for their symbolic meaning, but they may also have had a functional purpose. Some researchers have speculated that the shape and size of the Ark could have made it capable of amplifying electromagnetic energy or other natural forces. The gold plating on the inside and outside of the Ark may have served to focus energy, much like modern capacitors or energy storage devices. The careful symmetry of the Ark's design could have been intended to balance and enhance its potential to harness divine power. The Ark as an energy source. One of the most intriguing theories about the Ark of the Covenant is that it might have been an energy source or power device. The supernatural abilities attributed to the Ark, such as the ability to part the Red Sea or bring down the walls of Jericho, could be interpreted as effects caused by the Ark's manipulation of natural forces, possibly electromagnetic or gravitational forces. In modern times, the idea that the Ark was capable of manipulating energy is not so far-fetched. Scientists today understand the power of electromagnetic fields and their ability to influence the environment. Could the Ark have been designed to generate and control such fields? The gold plating of the Ark, along with the acacia wood, might have created a resonance that amplified the energy stored within it, much like modern power generators. This idea suggests that the Ark may have been an ancient energy device, capable of generating immense force and power, and could explain some of the miracles that were attributed to it in the biblical account. The mercy seat with its cherubim and golden construction, could have acted as a focal point for this energy, concentrating it in a way that would allow it to be released at key moments. Some theorists propose that the divine power that the ark represented might have been an advanced form of energy manipulation harnessed by the ancient Israelites for both spiritual and practical purposes. This aligns with the idea that the ark was not merely a sacred relic, but a technological instrument that was capable of performing feats that appeared supernatural. Ancient technologies and the possibility of lost knowledge. Could the ark be a product of a lost civilization with knowledge that surpassed anything we have today? The idea of advanced technology existing in the ancient world is not as outlandish as it may seem. Many cultures, such as the Egyptians, Maya, and Greeks, demonstrated a high degree of mathematical and architectural knowledge, some of which we are only beginning to understand today. Some researchers believe that the ark could be a relic from such a lost civilization, one that had a deeper understanding of energy and cosmic forces than we do today. The Egyptian pyramids, for example, have long been the subject of speculation about their potential connection to advanced technologies. Could the ark have been an artifact from this same civilization, built with knowledge that was later lost to time? If so, it could explain the supernatural abilities associated with the ark. It was not simply a religious object, but a tool of forgotten science capable of manipulating the forces of nature. Beyond its historical and potential technological significance, the Ark of the Covenant holds deep spiritual symbolism. It was not simply a container of sacred objects, but a divine vessel through which the Israelites could connect with God on a profound level. The Ark was believed to be the physical manifestation of God's presence on earth, and its role in ancient Israelite society was as much about spiritual transformation as it was about law and leadership. The Ark was a sacred object, and its power was deeply entwined with the spiritual well-being of the people who revered it. A sacred vessel, the mercy seat in God's presence. The mercy seat, the golden cover placed on top of the ark, was where God's divine presence was believed to dwell. According to the Bible, God would appear in a cloud of glory above the mercy seat between the two cherubim, angelic figures, who symbolized the presence of divine beings. This specific space was not only where the ark was kept, but also where the high priest would enter once a year on the Day of Atonement to make sacrifices for the sins of the people. The mercy seat was considered the throne of God on earth. It was a sacred space where the physical and spiritual realms met, and through it, the Israelites believed they could gain direct access to God's guidance, protection, and mercy. The ark represented the connection between the heavenly and earthly realms, with the mercy seat acting as the center of this communication. When the Israelites approached the ark, they were not simply dealing with a physical object, but engaging with the divine essence itself. The ark as a spiritual guide. In many ways, the ark was a spiritual guide for the Israelites. It was carried at the front of the people during their travels, leading the way in times of spiritual warfare and physical journeying. The ark was the symbol of divine direction, and wherever it went, the Israelites followed. Its guiding role was central not only in their military victories, but also in their spiritual life. The ark's movements often preceded important milestones in the Israelites' journey, whether it was crossing the Red Sea or the Jordan River, marking moments of spiritual transformation and divine intervention. This idea of the ark as a spiritual guide extends beyond its literal journeys. The presence of the ark in the camp of Israel was a constant reminder of God's covenant with his people, a covenant that was based on the principles of faithfulness, obedience, and spiritual alignment with the divine will. As the Israelites followed the ark, they were not just following an object, but aligning their lives with God's divine plan for them. The ark was a focal point for their spiritual connection to God, and it gave them the courage and strength to face the trials ahead. Spiritual cleansing and the power of the ark. The ark also played an essential role in the spiritual cleansing of the Israelites. The Day of Atonement, or Yom Kippur, was one of the holiest days in the Jewish calendar, during which the high priest would enter the Holy of Holies to offer sacrifices on behalf of the people. The high priest would sprinkle the blood of the sacrifice on the mercy seat, symbolizing the purification of the people's sins and the restoration of their relationship with God. This act of atonement through the ark allowed the people to experience divine forgiveness and spiritual renewal. The ark was not just an object of religious rituals, it was a spiritual purifier. Its presence was thought to have the power to cleanse the Israelites of their spiritual impurities, bringing them back into harmony with the divine. This process of spiritual cleansing was not simply about the physical purification of sin, but about the transformation of the soul, guiding individuals back to a state of grace and divine favor. The ark's spiritual role was essential in keeping the people's hearts and minds aligned with God's will. The mystery of the Ark of the Covenant has captured the imagination of countless individuals for centuries. From biblical scholars to adventurers and spiritual seekers, the search for the lost Ark has become a modern-day quest, with many believing that its discovery would unlock divine knowledge and confirm the enduring power of God's covenant with His people. While the Ark's journey was chronicled in ancient texts, its final resting place has been a source of mystery and intrigue, sparking debates and explorations that continue to this day. Theories about the Ark's location. There are several theories about where the Ark of the Covenant might be hidden today. The biblical account suggests that the Ark was placed in the Temple of Solomon in Jerusalem, but after the destruction of the first temple by the Babylonians in 586 BCE, the Ark's fate becomes unclear. The absence of the Ark from the Second Temple and its failure to appear in any historical records after the Babylonian exile has led to widespread speculation about where it might have gone. Over the years, several locations have been proposed as the Ark's final resting place. The most famous and widely discussed theory is that the Ark was hidden in Jerusalem before the city was captured. Some believe that it was hidden beneath the Temple Mount, the holiest site in Jerusalem, possibly in a secret chamber that has yet to be discovered. The Israeli authorities and religious leaders have long kept the Temple Mount under strict control, further fueling theories that the Ark might be hidden there, waiting to be uncovered. The Ark in Ethiopia. Another prominent theory posits that the Ark was taken to Ethiopia, where it has been hidden for centuries. According to this theory, after the destruction of the First Temple, the Ark was secretly moved by a group of priests to the kingdom of Aksum in northern Ethiopia, where it has remained ever since. This theory is bolstered by the claims of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, which asserts that the Ark is housed in the Church of Saint Mary of Zion in Aksum. According to the Church's tradition, the Ark has been guarded by a group of monks for centuries, and only one man, a designated guardian, is allowed to see it. The Ethiopian claim has been the subject of much fascination, and numerous expeditions have been launched in an attempt to verify whether the Ark is truly in Ethiopia. While there is no definitive proof, the Church of Saint Mary of Zion has long been a site of pilgrimage for those seeking to witness the sacred relic. However, access to the church's inner sanctuary, where the Ark is said to be kept, is tightly controlled, and only a single monk is permitted to view it. This secrecy has only deepened the mystery and intrigue surrounding the Ark's potential location in Ethiopia. The Ark's connection to the Templars and the Freemasons. There are also theories that link the Ark of the Covenant to the Knights Templar and the Freemasons, two secretive organizations with historical ties to religious relics and hidden knowledge. According to some legends, the Templars were entrusted with the Ark during their time in Jerusalem, and they may have hidden it in secret locations in Europe or the Middle East. Some theorists suggest that the Freemasons, an organization that traces its origins to medieval stonemasons, may have knowledge of the Ark's location, hidden away as part of a mystical tradition connected to ancient sacred geometry and spiritual enlightenment. The connection between the Templars, the Freemasons, and the Ark has inspired numerous books, documentaries, and films, including the Indiana Jones franchise, which popularized the idea of the Ark's hidden power and the search for it in the modern world. The idea that the Ark is part of a larger conspiracy to hide ancient wisdom and protect divine knowledge adds an element of intrigue to the search and has led to many theories about the role these secret organizations might play in guarding the Ark's location. The Ark of the Covenant, as a sacred object, has always been more than just a religious symbol or a miraculous vessel of divine power. Throughout history, various theories have proposed that the Ark contains more than spiritual guidance and prophetic symbols. It may also hold lost knowledge, wisdom from ancient civilizations that had access to mystical truths about the universe, sacred geometry, and the cosmic forces that govern life on Earth. If the Ark is more than just a religious relic, then its true purpose might be tied to the secrets of the ancients, knowledge that could unlock profound insights into the nature of reality and humanity's place in the universe. The Ark as a repository of ancient wisdom. In many ancient cultures, sacred objects were believed to hold the knowledge and power of the gods. The Ark of the Covenant, with its intricate design and the divine instructions that governed its creation, could be seen as a repository of sacred wisdom passed down from a civilization with an understanding of the cosmic order. The fact that the Ark was designed by God Himself, as described in the Bible, suggests that it was not just a symbol of God's covenant, but also a key to accessing divine and cosmic knowledge. Could the Ark hold secrets of the universe that were hidden away by the ancients? Some theorists propose that the Ark contains a blueprint for understanding the laws of nature, a sacred geometry encoded in its construction. The careful measurements, the use of gold and acacia wood, the mercy seat, and the positioning of the cherubim, all of these elements may have been chosen for their symbolic significance, but they could also represent deeper geometric principles that were understood by the ancient builders of the Ark. These principles may not have been fully recognized by the Israelites at the time, but they could hold the key to understanding hidden natural laws. The Ark could be seen as a container of divine knowledge that has the potential to unlock not only spiritual truths, but also scientific wisdom that has been lost to time. If the Ark is indeed a repository of hidden knowledge, its discovery could shed light on the cosmic truths that have been preserved for millennia, waiting for the right time to be revealed. The Ark and sacred geometry. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Ark's design is its connection to the principles of sacred geometry, a field of knowledge that has long been associated with the ancient understanding of the patterns and structures of the principles. Universe. Sacred geometry links geometry, mathematics, and the divine in a way that reveals the hidden order of creation. Many ancient cultures, including the Egyptians, Greeks, and Maya, used sacred geometry in the design of their temples, pyramids, and other sacred structures, believing that these geometric patterns connected them to the divine and the cosmic forces. The Ark of the Covenant, with its carefully constructed dimensions and the symbolism of the mercy seat, could be a representation of sacred geometry in its purest form. Some researchers have suggested that the proportions and angles of the Ark's dimensions correspond to ancient mathematical ratios such as the golden ratio, a number that has been used in the design of everything from natural patterns to architectural wonders. If the ark was indeed constructed with sacred geometry in mind, it could hold the key to understanding the hidden forces of the universe, offering a blueprint for accessing the universal wisdom encoded in nature itself. The ark as a cosmic device. Beyond its spiritual and geometric significance, the ark may also have had a more practical purpose, that of a cosmic device capable of interacting with the natural world in ways that are beyond our current understanding. Some theories suggest that the ark could have been used to harness cosmic energy or manipulate electromagnetic fields in ways that would have appeared supernatural to the people of ancient Israel. The ark's ability to perform miracles, such as parting the Red Sea or destroying the walls of Jericho, might not have been purely divine, but could have been facilitated by the use of advanced energy manipulation. This theory proposes that the ark was not simply a spiritual tool, but a device designed to interact with the forces of nature. The golden plating and the use of acacia wood might have been more than just religious symbolism. They could have been components of a device capable of storing or amplifying energy. The mercy seat, with its golden surface, might have been designed to focus this energy, enabling the ark to act as a cosmic amplifier. If this theory is correct, the ark would have been an instrument of divine science, designed to facilitate communication with God and to perform feats that seem to defy the laws of nature.